أجمعين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this, another of our sittings. We covered how to be sincere to Allah, and we gave 14 conditions to be sincere to Allah. We covered how to be sincere to the Holy Quran, and we gave you 14 conditions how to be sincere to the Holy Quran. We covered how to be sincere to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we gave you 14 conditions how to be sincere to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today, by Allah's permission, we will cover how to be sincere to your Muslim brothers and sisters, how to be sincere to the Ummah. But I have in front of me 21 conditions. So why is it that to be sincere to Allah you need 14 conditions, but to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad you need 21 conditions? That is because the Ummah of Muhammad is weak. The creation is weak. So he is more vulnerable. If you owe a man £3,000, 5,000 US dollars, and you owe Allah 5,000 US dollars because you owe Hajj to Allah. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ. Hajj is a duty that you owe to Allah. Now, who are you supposed to pay first? The man or Allah? You are supposed to pay the man first because you can't hurt Allah. It's not possible for you to hurt Allah. So, since you cannot hurt Allah, because Allah is Al-Ghani, وَنَحْنُ فُقَرَاء, we are the poor, Allah is Ghani, the rich. If you owe a man 5,000 US dollars and you owe Allah Hajj, you have to pay the man before you make Hajj. Because the man is vulnerable. Maybe he needs the money. He's desperately in need of the money. So you are not allowed to make Hajj until you pay off your debts. And that is Sharia law. When you owe the Creator and you owe the creation, you should pay the creation first because the creation is vulnerable. That is Sharia law. So what are the conditions? What are the 21 conditions to be sincere to the creation of Allah? How can you be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The first condition is that you should love them regardless of land, language or label. You have to love them regardless of land, language or label. So whatever label they put on themselves, Indians or Pakistanis or Arabs, Malaysians, Nigerians, whatever label they put on themselves, you have to love them regardless of land, language or label. This is the very first condition for you to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these labels, they only divide the Ummah anyway. These labels, they only divide the Ummah. And Allah said, Surah 49 verse 10, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. Verily, the believers are brothers. The believers are brothers. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخْوَيْكُمْ. So make peace between your brothers. So since we are a single brotherhood and a sisterhood, you are not allowed to be divided on the lines of racism, tribalism, and nationalism. You withhold your love from your brothers and sisters because of racism, tribalism, and nationalism. In Surah 49 verse 13, Allah said, Ya Nas, Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha waj'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. O mankind, we have created you from a single male and female, and we have made you into nations and tribes, not for you to despise each other, but for you to know each other. Verily, the most honorable of you in the sight of Allah is that believer who is most righteous. This ayah uproots racism, tribalism, nationalism, regionalism, clannishness, male chauvinism, feminism, ageism, all the isms and schisms. This ayah uproots these isms and schisms. The Rasul said there is no precedence, there is no superiority for the Arab over the Ajami. And there is no superiority for the non-Arab, the Ajami over the Arab, except with taqwa. All of you, you are children of Adam. Kullukum min Adam wa Adam min Turab. Your father is one. Your father is Adam. Beware, no Arab has precedence over the Ajami, the Arab, the non-Arab. No Ajami, Ajami is the non-Arab, has precedence over an Arab. No white has precedence over a black. And no black has precedence over a white. There is no precedence but on the basis of taqwa. The precedence, the superiority is on the basis of taqwa. Now, you heard about democracy, the government of the people, for the people, by the people. Democracy is the greatest shirk. And you have heard about aristocracy. Aristocracy is to believe that the rich people are better than the poor people. But there is an ideology you haven't heard about, pigmentocracy. Have you heard about that? Pigmentocracy. Pigmentocracy is promoted by black people and white people. The white people believe the lighter the skin, the more handsome you are. The more white you are, the more handsome you are. Then the black people who believe in pigmentocracy, they look down upon the white skin and they claim it ages rapidly and it is prone to skin cancer. So you have racism from whites and you have racism from blacks. And this racism is called pigmentocracy. It depends on your pigment. What the black people are practicing is called reverse racism. Because they were victims of racism, they were victims of pigmentocracy, they are practicing reverse racism. The darker the skin, the more durable the skin is, the more handsome you are, and the aging process is slowed down because of your dark skin, because of pigment. And you are not prone to skin cancer because of your pigment. Then the whites, their concept is the lighter the skin is, and Hitler had that akida. Adolf Hitler had that akida. The blue eyes and the blonde hair, that is beauty. If you don't have that, then you are not beautiful. Darwinism promotes this creed as well, because according to Charles Darwin, pigmentocracy, okay, Charles Darwin, if you are not white, you are still a monkey and you are still evolving. Darwinism, if you are white, you are fully evolved. If you are not white, you are still a monkey. You are not handsome and you are not intelligent. You are stupid. Adolf Hitler got his creed from Darwinism. So Nazism is an offshoot from Darwinism. Charles Darwin, he was the mentor for Adolf Hitler. Darwinism was the springboard that launched Nazism. So you have heard about racism, you have heard about tribalism, you have heard about Darwinism, you have heard about Nazism, you have heard about aristocracy, you have heard about theocracy. Theocracy is the government of the mullahs, the scholars, with Sharia law. The government of the mullah is called theocracy. And mullah is not a bad word. You have heard about aristocracy, you have heard about democracy, you have heard about theocracy, but there's another word you have never heard about, and that is pigmentocracy. Now, pigmentocracy is to brag about your pigment. Black people practice it, white people practice it. White people believe the whiter you are, the more handsome you are. And black people believe the darker the skin is, the more durable the skin is, the aging process slows down because of your pigment. The skin doesn't lose its elasticity. When you are black, the skin doesn't lose its elasticity rapidly. You are not prone to skin cancer. That's called pigmentocracy. Um, did you spell pigmentocracy properly? Could you spell it authentic to 21? You can Google the word. It's a new word in this room. We haven't used this word before. Pigmentocracy. It's a new word for this room. We haven't used it before. And that is to brag about your pigment. The reason why black people practice pigmentocracy, they are practicing reverse racism. Why they practice reverse racism? Because for every action there is a reaction. For every action there is a reaction. That's why they practice reverse racism. So this is the first condition for you to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad, to love them regardless of land, language, or label. You are not allowed to withhold your love for your brothers and sisters on the grounds of racism, tribalism, and nationalism. Now, if a Muslim brother wants to marry a white sister, that is his preference, that's his business. For every action there is a positive and negative reaction. Okay. If an Indian brother wants to marry an Indian sister, that's his business. You can't get involved. It's called preference. Allah said, فَانْكِحُوا مَا تَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. Surah Nisa verse 3. فَانْكِحُوا مَا تَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. Marry women who you fancy. Allah said, marry women who you fancy. When I was living in the UK, I used to arrange marriages a lot. And the Arab brothers, they want to marry white sisters. The Arab brothers who I find wives for, they always ask for a white sister. It was easy for me to find wives for people because I had 1,000 friends in the UK. 500 men, 500 women. So for me to match them off and pair them off with each other, that was very, very easy for me. The white sisters, they don't have a preference. A white sister can marry anybody. She can marry Arab, black, Pakistani. That's my experience. White sisters can marry anybody. The Asians, Indians and Pakistanis and Bengalis, they prefer to marry their own. They don't like to venture out. Bengalis want to marry Bengalis. Pakistanis want to marry Pakistanis. Indians want to marry Indians. They hardly venture out. A black man can marry anybody. Black men, they can marry anybody. White women, Indian women, Arab women. Black men don't really care. They marry anybody. Indian men, they don't want to venture out. They stick to their race. Arab men, they ask me for white sisters. That's my experience with my matchmaking in the UK. If a brother wants to marry from a particular race, you are not allowed to accuse him of being a racist. Don't you know what happened to men who marry without chemistry? They become impotent. A friend of mine got married to a woman he wasn't attracted to. There was no chemistry. He became impotent. I told him, you deserve to be impotent. How can you come to my study circle and you hear me emphasize chemistry, chemistry, chemistry? Attraction, attraction, attraction. Then you went and married a woman. You marry a woman without chemistry. So you come to my study circle and you listen to the doubts, and then you go behind my back and do your own thing. Men who marry without chemistry, they always become impotent. And because of that, Allah said in Surah Nisa verse 3, فَانْكِحُوا مَا تَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. Impotence, Adam intisab. I am translating for an Arab in the room. Impotence, Adam بدون intisab. I have to translate the word impotence for an Arab in the room. Biduni intisab. That is impotence. Yes. So Allah Ta'ala said, Fankihu ma taba lakum min nisa, marry women who are pleasing to you. Now, the reason why I had to bring up this point is because we're talking about racism, tribalism, nationalism. And I don't want you to accuse your Muslim brothers and sisters of being racist because a brother wants to marry a white sister, a brother wants to marry a black sister, a brother wants to marry an Indian sister, a brother wants to marry a Chinese sister. He is only acting upon the ayah where Allah said, marry the woman you fancy. That's not racism. It's called preference. For you to prefer to marry from a particular race, that's not racism, it's called preference. Racism is when you believe in the superiority of one race over the other, and that the other race should not be given its rights. Like what I saw when I was in South Africa. In South Africa, they implemented pigmentocracy to the letter. The apartheid system of South Africa was not a democracy, it's called pigmentocracy, in which the whites get the good jobs and live in good neighborhoods, and the blacks, they get the rubbish jobs and live in poor housing and bad neighborhoods based on skin color. And those who are mulatto, the mulatto means the half white, the half black, the half caste, they get middle class neighborhoods. They get middle class jobs and they live in middle class neighborhoods. The mulatto, the half caste, the mixed race. And the blacks, they get the worst jobs and live in the worst neighborhoods and the worst houses. And the whites, they get the best jobs and live in the best houses. That is called pigmentocracy. Not democracy, pigmentocracy. Then you have meritocracy. Meritocracy is when you are promoted based upon your merits. Then you have gerontocracy. Gerontocracy is a government of old men. A government which is governed by old men who are old and impotent. That government is called gerontocracy. Then you have theocracy. Theocracy, the government of the scholars, the sheikhs, run by Sharia law. That's called theocracy. Then you have democracy. Democracy is the government of the people, for the people, by the people. The people, they are the lawgivers. Democracy is the greatest shirk, because Allah is the only lawgiver. And all of you in this room who believe in democracy, you are kuffar outside the fold of Islam. Your state is so pathetic. You are supposed to follow the religion of Allah, Deen Allah, which is Islam, but you are following the religion of Iblis. Democracy is the religion of Iblis. So for you to believe in democracy, you are a murtad, an apostate. You no longer follow the religion of Allah, you follow the religion of Iblis. Democracy means the demons have gone crazy. Democracy, it means the demons have gone crazy. And because the demons have gone crazy, they allow women to marry women and men to marry men. They set up a brothel in Europe, and it's called the animal brothel. You can go to the brothel and pay to have sex with a dog or a pig or a cow or a goat. It's an animal brothel. That is democracy. Why? Because democracy means the demons have gone crazy. In France and Brazil, you can go to bed with your daughter as long as she's at puberty and she agreed. A man can go to bed with his daughter in France and Brazil if the daughter is at puberty and she agreed. Why do they allow this? Pedophilia, not pedophilia, I'm sorry, incest, it is called incest. They allow it because democracy means the demons have gone crazy. Just when you think they shock you enough, they bring about a new law which is more shocking and more sickening, makes you want to vomit. Just when you thought they have pushed the boundaries to the maximum, they can't shock us anymore, they bring out a new law that makes you want to vomit every day. Why? Because democracy means the demons have gone crazy. And all of you in this room who believe in democracy, you are kuffar outside the fold of Islam. I know many of you, you come to this room to hear takfir. When I teach fiqh, you said it's boring. leave fiqh for another sheikh and stick to takfir. Some of you said that. We like to hear takfir because we don't want to die as kuffar, because Allah said, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Don't die unless you die as Muslims. If fiqh was a boring subject, if fiqh was a boring subject, why when I did the topic bedroom etiquettes in Islam, the halal and the haram of the bedroom, everybody asks for a repeat. If fiqh was a boring subject, why everybody wants a repeat? I don't think I'll repeat that topic. It's on the blog. I'm too shy to repeat that topic. I'm too shy to repeat the topic. Go and listen to the blog. Fiqh is not a boring subject. Yeah, some people come to the room to hear takfir because they don't want to die as kuffar. They tell me to my face, leave fiqh for another sheikh and stick to takfir because we don't want to die as kuffar. I put it to you, if you believe in democracy, you're a kafir, because it is a religion of the Satan. And it means the demons have gone crazy. So you are supposed to love the Muslims regardless of land, language, or labor. And the Rasul said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. You are not a believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. You are not a sincere believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Until you love for your sister what you love for yourself. In the UK, for every man that took Shahada, you have 10 women. So you're going to have more women in the UK walking around in hijab than men walking around in taqiyah. What is taqiyah? Taqiyah is the white cap you wear on your head, the skull cap that the Muslim men wear on their head. It's called taqiyah, with taqiyah. How many of you Muslim sisters can say to your best friend, oh sister, you are struggling to find a husband, marry my husband? It's very few. Very few Muslim women can say, sister, I realize you are struggling to find a husband, marry my husband, become my co-wife. Very few sisters. Now, take for example a place like Iraq and Afghanistan and Palestine and Shishan, where Muslim men are killed every day. If you don't understand the concept of loving for your sister what you love for yourself, what use do you have for the Ummah? Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, Shishan, in Kashmir, men are killed every day. And one of the signs of the last days, for every man you'll have 50 women. Women will be a lot, men will be very few in number. For every man you'll have 50 women. That will be the ratio. So since that is the ratio in the last days, you need to love for your Muslim sister what you love for yourself and stop being selfish. The reason why you are so selfish is because you born and grew up in Dar al-Harb, Europe and America. People who live in Dar al-Harb, most of them become low-life scums of the earth. Dar al-Harb trains you to be selfish and to be deceptive. It's all me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. Dar al-Harb. When you live in Dar al-Harb, it makes you become a low-life scum of the earth. If you don't sit in gatherings like this halqa, this study circle, and be reminded of Quran and Sunnah, you will become another rubbish on the heap. You have to be in a dars. Some of you come in this room every single day. Now there is a hadith that says you are not a believer till you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Until you love for your sister what you love for yourself. I'm sure you have heard this hadith a million times before, but you will never become tired of listening to the hadith. Even though you heard the hadith a million times before, your heart will never get fed up of hearing the hadith because it's a reminder. And we were commanded to remind the believers. فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. You are supposed to remind the believers because the reminder is beneficial for the believer. So Darul Harb is very, very dangerous. Darul Harb is a dangerous place. When I was living in London, I went to a shop to buy a newspaper, and I saw dirty magazines on the shelves. Dirty magazines on the shelves in London. Can you imagine a 12-year-old girl going into the shop to buy sweets, to buy chocolate? Dirty magazines on the shelves. Can you imagine a 12-year-old girl going inside a sweet shop in London to buy chocolate? Can you imagine how she'll be corrupted? Then I went to central London and I went inside a phone box to make a phone call to a friend. What I saw in the phone box was cards of prostitutes advertising their services. That was Edgware Road, central London, in the phone boxes. So don't underestimate Darul Harb. Darul Harb is a dread place. Then there was a Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras means the gay marches on the street, marching for their rights. And I saw about 5 Muslims marching with the gays and said, "We are gay Muslims," in central London. Then there was a woman called Faraya Alam who slept with Goran Eriksson, the football manager for England, and then she sold her story for $500,000 US. And she went into the details of the zina. How can a Muslim woman do something like that? Then it came out in the newspapers that she slept with all the men in her office. She was the secretary. She slept with all the men in the office. That is Darul Harb. Why do you think many Muslims migrated from Europe and America to go and live in a Muslim country? Because they realize that Darul Harb is a dread place. Only the strong survive, the weak fall by the wayside. That is the reality of Darul Harb. There are more disgusting things I could tell you, but I prefer not to digress. I need to finish my notes. And let me warn you, my notes are many, so it's going to take us 2 or 3 evenings to finish the rights of the Muslims over each other. Let me warn you, my notes, there's a lot of Quranic verses and hadith. So it's going to take a long time to finish my notes. But I can warn you, Darul Harb is a dread place. Because the TV corrupts your kids. The school playground corrupts your kids. My sound is good or bad? I can reboot my computer if it's bad. The TV corrupts your kids and the school playground corrupts your kids. Those magazines I saw on the shelves in London when I went to buy a newspaper, dirty magazines, they call them top shelves magazines, they corrupt your kids. The billboards corrupts your kids. Those billboards I saw when I ride the tube, the train, or drive in my car, the billboards along the road, they are very, very nasty billboards. They corrupt your kids. The syllabus corrupts your kids, the education syllabus, and Western education is haram. Western education is haram. Western education are concepts like Jesus is God if you go to a Catholic school. To be gay is normal if you go to a government school. To be gay or lesbian is normal. Men evolved from monkeys. To be gay, it's in your genes. Man went to the moon. Neil Armstrong went to the moon. Anybody who believes that man went to the moon, you are a donkey walking around on 2 feet. That's what you are. If you believe this moon landing story, you are nothing but a donkey with 2 feet. The white man went to the moon in the 1960s, and he can't go back some 45 years later. With modern day technology, he can't go back to the moon, yet he went there 45 years ago in the 1960s. And you believe that crap? Western education is haram. Because they say in Western education, Neil Armstrong went to the moon. That's what they have in the science books. AIDS came from Africa. To be gay, it's in your genes. A gay is a normal person because to be gay, it's in your genes. Jesus is God. Holy Mary, Mother of God, if you go to a Catholic school. Men evolved from monkeys. Darwinism. That is Western education. Don't forget the syllabus was set up by what? Freemasons. The syllabus of Western education was set up by Freemasons. Devil worshippers. And because of that, Western education is haram. When I was in the UK, I saw many sisters who homeschool their kids. I took my cap off to those sisters. Because I did not homeschool my stepdaughter. I sent her to the nearest school down the road, but I gave her a rigid Islamic education at home to balance the kufr that she was learning from state school. And they did not corrupt her by the will of Allah. The Western education was set up by Freemasons who are devil worshippers. That's why Western education is so evil. So when you have Boko Haram in Nigeria saying Western education is haram, they are correct. Dentistry is not Western education. It's called international education. Medicine is not Western education. That knowledge is international. Chemical engineering, petroleum engineering, electronic engineering, that is not Western education. Now, we were talking about Western education, and I'm saying to you, Western education entails, it includes to believe that to be gay, it's in your genes. Allah created you to be gay because it's in your genes. To be gay is normal. And the shayateen who promote this idea, to be gay, it's in your genes, they convince the population in the West to be gay, it's in your genes. That's why Barack Obama can say, I endorse gay marriages. And there was no outcry. Because the kuffar convinced the people of the West to be gay, it's in their genes, and it is normal. That is Western education. Western education says, Holy Mary, Mother of God, if you send your child to a Catholic school. Jesus is God. And if you send your child to the government school, the state school, they'll tell the child, men evolved from monkeys. Darwinism. That is Western education. And Neil Armstrong went to the moon, I think in 1966, way back in the 1960s. No man went to the moon. The radiation from the light of the moon would have made them blind had they gone to the moon. The radiation would have made them blind. No man went to the moon. That's a big lie. The reason why Western education is haram is because it was set up by the Freemasons, who are shayateen, to corrupt the population. And if the kuffar went to the moon in the 1960s, why is it that they can't go back there now when the technology is more advanced? The technology is far more advanced. And they can't go back there in our modern day time, in our modern time. Yet they went there some 45 years ago. So Western education is wrong. And the reason why it is haram is because the syllabus was set up by Freemasons. The other condition to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have some hadith to quote. The hadith says, when you meet your Muslim brother and shake his hands, all your sins are forgiven. Tabassumaka fi wajh akhika sadaqa. When you smile with your brother, in his face it is sadaqah. To enjoin the right and forbid the wrong is sadaqah, charity. To guide a person who is lost along the road in a strange land is charity. The Prophet said, two Muslims who meet each other and shake hands, their sins are forgiven. To smile with your Muslim brother is charity, sadaqah. When you enjoin piety and forbid evil, it's sadaqah. Al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy an munkar, to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. Guiding your Muslim brother to guide a lost person along the road in a land which is a strange land is sadaqah. You're leading the blind is a sadaqah for you. You are removing from the road a stone, a harmful thing from the road, a thorn or a bone is a sadaqah for you. And you're filling with your bucket, the bucket of your brother is sadaqah for you. Collected by At-Tirmidhi. The Rasul said 7 people will be beneath the shade of Allah on Judgment Day when there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. Among these 7 people, 2 Muslims who love each other for the sake of Allah. 2 Muslims who love each other for the sake of Allah. These 2 Muslims, they shall be beneath the shade of Allah on Judgment Day, when there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. You love each other not because of racism and tribalism and nationalism. You love each other for the sake of Allah. The Prophet said you will never believe until you love each other. And you will never enter paradise until you believe. And you will never believe until you love each other. Shall I teach you a word? If you spread it between yourselves, you will start to love each other. Spread Assalamu alaikum between yourselves. The second condition to be sincere to the Ummah is to feel the pain of the Ummah, to feel their pain. So when they suffer in Kashmir, in Palestine, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Shishan, you are supposed to feel their pain. Because the Rasul said the Muslims in their love, mercy and affection for each other is like one body. When one part of the body is affected, the whole body feels the pain. The Muslims in their love, mercy and affection for each other is like one body. When one part of the body is affected, the whole body feels the pain. Allah told you in Surah Tawbah verse 71 that the Muslims believe in men and believe in women, they are friends and protectors and allies of each other. Surah 9 verse 71. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْدٍ. The believers, men and women, are friends and protectors and allies of each other. Tawbah 71. The believers, men and women, they are awliya, helpers, supporters, friends, protectors of one another. They enjoin on the people al-ma'ruf and they forbid al-munkar. They enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. They perform salah and they pay zakah and they obey Allah and His Messenger. The third condition to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you should love for them what you love for yourself. You are not a believer until you love for your Muslim brothers and sisters what you love for yourself. The fourth condition is, when they work for you, pay them before their sweat dry up. Because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith collected by Ibn Majah, bring me the hadith, is found in Ibn Majah, when someone works for you, pay them before their sweat dry up. Many times people fight and kill each other over money because somebody worked for somebody and they didn't get any pay. Somebody worked for somebody and they didn't get any pay. So the fourth condition, when they work for you, pay them before their sweat dry up. Okay, bring me the hadith found in Ibn Majah that says you should pay the people before their sweat dries up. Okay, shukran for the hadith. The fifth condition to be sincere to your brothers and sisters, when you borrow their money, you pay them back. Because the hadith says, the one who marries with the intention not to pay the dowry is a zani, committing zina, is a fornicator. And the one who borrows money not to pay back the money is a thief. This hadith is found in Ibn Hibban. Bring me the hadith found in Ibn Hibban. The one who marries a girl with the intention not to give her the dowry, the mahar, is a fornicator, a zani. And the one who borrows money with the intention not to pay back the money is a thief. And stay away from poor people with no taqwa. These are the worst people. These are the people who borrow money without paying it back. Poor people with no taqwa. A poor man with no taqwa, that's the worst man. Because Allah didn't bless him with neither deen nor dunya. That is the worst man under the heavens. A poor man with no taqwa. Why? Allah didn't bless him with neither deen nor dunya. Therefore, he's not marriage material. Some people will be at arm's length from paradise, yet they end up in the hellfire. So why this man will be an arm's length from paradise, yet he will end up in the hellfire? Because he used to rip off the Muslims, borrow their money and didn't pay them back. So because he borrowed money and didn't pay them back, he has to give away his salah, zakah, sawm, hajj. He has to give away his salah, zakah, sawm, hajj. You can pay them back with the US dollar on Judgment Day, or a stronger currency, the euro, or a stronger currency, the pound sterling, because the only currency Allah will accept on Judgment Day is your good deeds. So because of that, you will say nafsi, 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 myself, myself. Everybody will be hanging on to their good deeds. Allah said, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. A man will run away. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. He'll run away from his brother, his mother, his sahiba, his wife, wabani, and all his kids, because they will approach him to give them some of his good deeds, and he will run away from them. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. You will hang on to your good deeds fiercely, because the only currency Allah will accept on that day is your good deeds. The sixth condition, when you borrow their property, you give it back to them. Some Muslims, if you lend them your car, they sell the car and say it's stolen, report the car stolen. So when you borrow their property, you have to give them back, because Allah spoke about amana in Surah 23 verse 8. وَأَهْلِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. The believers, they protect their amana. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَأَهْلِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Surah 23 verse 8. So if you borrow somebody's property, it is called amana, and you have to return the amana. It's a trust. The Holy Prophet said, La deen liman la amana lahu. Any man who has no amana has no religion, no faith, no deen. This hadith was collected by Ahmad ibn Hanbal. La deen. He can't be trusted. He has no faith, no deen, no religion. So when you borrow their properties, you are supposed to pay it back. Do you have that dictionary, an Arabic dictionary called Hanswehr? That's the best Arabic dictionary. Hanswehr, have I got a dictionary? Say, oh, I don't have it anymore. So where is the dictionary? I lent it to somebody. Who? I can't remember who I lent it to, and they did not return the dictionary. It happens on many occasions. You might have a book, Bulugh Maram, one of the best books in English language right now. Bulugh Maram. I said, where is that book? He said, I used to have. Who? I can't remember who I lent it to, but the person didn't bring back the book. These are books people like to borrow and don't bring it back. Another book, The Sealed Nectar. The Sealed Nectar. That's another book that people don't like to return. These are key books. They borrow the book and they hope you won't remember who you lent the book to, so they hang on to your book. Many people are like that. No amana. All of you are affected by it, but didn't get it back. The reason why we address the issue in this room is because we preach practical Islam. That's why we talk about the issue in this room. Why? We preach practical Islam. Islam that you live on an everyday basis. Al-amana mu'adat. Amana has to be returned to its owner. If you borrow out your laptop, let them go and buy their own. How can you lend out your cell phone? Your cell phone, your mobile phone is too personal. How can you lend that out? When somebody picks up my cell phone, they go straight to the inbox. They want, or the sent box. They want to see what Shaikh Faisal is up to. Don't you know that? When somebody picked up my mobile phone, they go straight to the inbox or the sent box. They want to see what message I receive and what message I sent. They want to see what Shaikh Faisal is up to. Don't let anybody touch your cell phone, your mobile phone. That's too personal. When they pick up your cell phone, they go straight to the inbox or the sent box to read your private messages. Don't lend out these belongings. Don't lend out your laptop. What if the person uses your laptop to go on dirty sites like child porn? When I was in not Nigeria, in Kenya, and the kuffar took me in custody, complaining, why did your study group jump from 300 to 3,000? The first thing they took off me was my laptop. I had an Acer on the journey, and they went up to see what sites I visited. They wanted to dig up dirt on me had I visited sites that they thought was unsavory. Front page in the Kenyan newspapers. Shaikh Faisal was visiting child porn sites. That's front page news. Don't lend out your laptop to people because they will use your laptop to go to dirty sites and you get the blame. You need to learn fiqh al-waqi and be wise. And stop living like the ostrich who dips his head in the sand and pretend everything is hunky-dory, everything is fine. Don't be naive. Your naivety will bring about your own destruction. Things like your cell phone, your mobile phone, your laptop, don't lend out these things. It's too personal. Too private. You don't know what mischief they are going to use it for. You don't know even your car. What you lend out your car, the person might use it to go and rob a business place. You get sent away to prison for a very, very long time because your car was involved in the robbery. You did not know the man was going to use your car to rob. He used your curb crawling. Curb crawling means to pick up prostitutes off the street. Your license plate was captured picking up prostitutes off the street. It's your car. You were in the car. You were driving. Don't lend out your car. Don't lend out your laptop. Don't lend out your mobile phones. What if people use it to do mischief and you get sent to jail for something you didn't commit? Don't be naive. Be wise. You are living in the last days. And when people borrow these things, they might not return it because the Prophet said, Amana. One of the signs of the last days, Amana will be lifted up. Amana will be lifted up from the bosoms of the Ummah. A man will go to his bed with Amana, and then Amana will come out of his heart while he's sleeping. Like the slug that leaves the traces of his footsteps. So the sixth condition to be sincere to the Ummah is that when you borrow their belongings like their car, their laptop, their tools, you return it. You borrow their books. I've been to Muslim homes. I said, have you got the Bulugh Maram? He said, I used to have it. Have you got the Sealed Nectar? I used to have it. Have you got Heinz Ware Dictionary, the best dictionary to learn Arabic? I used to have it. All of them told me, I used to have it. I used to have it. Somebody came to my house and borrowed it. And the person did not return it. Now, people don't return amana. Amana, the belongings of others. Even though Allah said in Surah 23 verse 8, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. The believers, the sincere believers, they are shepherds of their promises and pledges, their trust. The Prophet said, La deen liman la amana lahu. Anybody who has no amana, he has no deen. Ayatul munafiq arba. The sign of a munafiq are four. Either hadatha kadhab, whenever he speaks, he lies. Wa idha wa'ada akhlaf, when he makes a promise, he breaks it. Huwa mukhliful mi'ad. Wa idha tumina khan, when you trust him, he is treacherous. Wa idha khasama fajr, when he disputes, he is abusive. The tongue of a munafiq is dirty. Ayatul munafiq arba'a. The sign of a munafiq are four. Don't bring me the hadith that says the signs of a munafiq are three. I didn't learn that one. I learned the one that says the signs of a munafiq are four. And Allah told you in Surah Nisa 145, Inna al-munafiqeen fi dark al-asfali min al-nar. The hypocrites shall be in the bottom of the hellfire. When he speaks, he lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. He breaks covenants. He betrays your trust. And when he quarrels, he is insulting. The seventh condition to be sincere to your Muslim brothers and sisters: don't sell them faulty goods. Don't sell your Muslim brothers and sisters faulty goods. Because the Prophet said, Man ghashana falaysa minna. He who cheats us is not one of us. If you have a car showroom and one of the cars, the engine is faulty, the gearbox is faulty, do you have enough taqwa to tell the brother, look, the gearbox is faulty, the engine is faulty, it has a fault? How many of you have the taqwa to say this? You want to buy the car, but the engine is faulty, the gearbox is faulty. Very few people have the taqwa to tell the person that the engine is faulty, the gearbox is faulty. The car looks good from the outside, there's a fault in the engine. If you want to buy the car, it's your business, but I'm telling you the truth. The car looks lovely from the outside, but the engine is faulty. When I was in university, I had a friend who was selling used cars. He buy them and sell them. He used to make a lot of money. I said to him, maybe I should go into this business when I graduate from university. He said, no. In 6 months you will graduate as a sheikh. It doesn't look good for your image to sell used cars. I said, why? He said, because this business needs a bit of line. He said, يحتاج إلى الكذب شوي. His exact words, يحتاج إلى الكذب شوي. Shway means a little. You need to lie a little in this business. Because every used car you buy, it has a fault. And if you don't hide the fault, you're not going to make the money you want to make. The person will cry down the price. Every used car has a fault. And if the person finds out the fault, he will cry down the price. And you won't make any money. You won't make a profit. So you have to lie in this business. You will be graduating as a sheikh in 6 months. You can't go business selling used cars. It doesn't look good for your image as a sheikh. Because you have to lie in this business. That's what the person told me. Allah is my witness. So to be sincere to the Ummah, you cannot sell them faulty goods. You have to tell them the fault with the goods, because the Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Man ghashana falaysa minna. He who cheats us is not one of us. Man ghashana falaysa minna. And he who takes up weapons against us is. This hadith is found in Muslim. Man ghashana falaysa minna. He who cheats us is not one of us. The eighth condition, don't rip them off with high prices. Because the Rasul said, La tahasadu, wa la tanajashu, wa la tabaghadu, wa la tadabaru, wa la yabi' ba'dukum alay bay' ba'd. Wa kunu ibadallahi ikhwana, al-muslimu akhul muslim, la yadhlimuhu, wa la yakhdhulhu, wa la yahkiruh. التقوى ها هنا ويشير إلى صدره 3 مرات بحسب امرئ من الشر أن يحكر أخاه المسلم. كل المسلم على المسلم حرام دمه وماله وعرضه. Don't rip of the Muslims with high prices. And don't you unite with the people who sell the same goods and fix the price at a high price. You set the price at a high price and manipulate the people. And don't inflate prices one to another. The ninth condition to be sincere to your brothers and sisters: do not take up weapons against them. You are not allowed to take up weapons against your Muslim brothers and sisters, not even jokingly. The Prophet said, don't take up weapons against them jokingly. Because don't point a weapon at your Muslim brother, because you don't know when the shaitan will make you use the weapon against him, and then you will be in the hellfire. The shaitan will pull the weapon from your hands and let you use it against him, and then you'll end up in hellfire. This hadith is found in both Bukhari and Muslim. You can't take up weapons against each other, neither in earnest nor in jest. And none of you must point a weapon at his brother, for he does not know whether the devil may draw it while it is in his hand, as a result of which he will fall into a pit of hell. This hadith is agreed upon, muttafaqun alayh. Agreed upon means it is found in both Bukhari and Muslim. The 10th condition: do not undercut them in the marketplace. Don't undercut them in the marketplace with prices. That is the 10th condition for you to be sincere to your Muslim brothers and sisters. Do not drop your price to take away all the customers. You are not allowed to drop your price to take away all the customers. The 11th condition to be sincere to your brothers and sisters: don't propose on top of his proposal. If he proposed to a girl, don't propose on top of his proposal. Now, this hadith, where the Prophet said, bring me the hadith, the Prophet said, the hadith is of Uqba ibn Amir. The hadith of Uqba ibn Amir. He said on the pulpit, Allah's Messenger said, a believer is the brother of a believer, so it's not lawful for a believer to outbid his brother, nor propose an engagement on top of his proposal. This hadith is found in Muslim. Yes, the hadith of Uqba ibn Amir. Shukran. He said from the pulpit, Allah's Messenger said, a believer is the brother of a believer, so it is not lawful for a believer to outbid his brother, and he should not propose an engagement when his brother has thus proposed until he gives it up. Now, I need to explain this hadith for you, because Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, if a munafiq proposes to a girl, you can propose to the same girl. A believer is the brother of a believer. Listen to the hadith. A believer is the brother of a believer, so it is not lawful for a believer to outbid his brother, and he should not propose an engagement. If a munafiq, like a madkhali, proposes to a girl, a baril, a goofy Sufi, you can propose to the same girl, because the hadith is talking about a believer. And this is the madhab of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and it is the correct madhab. So if a munafiq proposes to a girl, you can propose to the same girl, and you can tell her, don't marry him, he's a munafiq. You can say that to the girl, don't marry that person, he's a munafiq. Because the hadith is talking about a believer. If a believer proposes to a girl, don't propose to the same girl. Therefore, this hadith doesn't cover the munafiq. Whose madhab is this? Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And it is the correct opinion in regards to this issue. Because the munafiq is in the bottom of the hellfire. Surah 4, 145. Inna al-munafiqeen fi dark al-asfali min al-nar. Verily, the hypocrites will be in the bottom of the hellfire. What if a man proposes to a girl and the girl said, let me think about it? Are you allowed to propose to the same girl while she's thinking about it? Two opinions. A man proposed to a girl, the girl said, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. Can another man propose to the girl? According to Ahmad ibn Hanbal, you can. According to Abu Hanifa, it is haram to propose to a girl while she's thinking about it. The correct opinion is Abu Hanifa. On this issue, Abu Hanifa is right. On this occasion, Abu Hanifa is correct. Why? Because the girl needs to do Salat al-Istikhara and she needs to consult her parents. She needs to seek advice. She needs to do Salat al-Istikhara. So while she's consulting with her relatives and friends about the proposal and doing Salat al-Istikhara, nobody's allowed to propose to her in that time period. So Abu Hanifa is correct. It is haram to propose to her while she's thinking about it. To prove to you that when a girl gets a proposal, she has to consult with others, the hadith of Fatima bin Qais. Fatima bin Qais went to the Prophet and said, she was a very beautiful woman of Quraysh, Fatima bin Qais. As soon as her iddat period was finished, she was flooded with proposals. She went to the Prophet and said, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan proposed to me and Abu Jahm proposed to me. What should I do? The Prophet said, as for Muawiyah, he is tight-fisted. As for Abu Jahm, he's a wife beater. So don't marry any of them, marry Usama. She was shocked because Usama wasn't from the noble tribe of Quraysh. She was a noble woman of Quraysh. She was shocked when the Prophet said Usama. But she got married to Usama and the marriage was successful. It was a successful marriage. The scholars of Islam, they derived 5 lessons from the hadith I've just quoted to you. The person taking notes, lessons from the hadith. The first lesson, the Rasul was approached by the Sahabas for sincere advice on crucial issues. Lessons from the hadith. The Prophet was always approached by the Sahabas for sincere advice on crucial matters about din and dunya. That's the first lesson. The scholars derive 5 lessons from this hadith I just quoted to you. The second lesson is, a Muslim sister should always seek advice from the pious and the wise before accepting a proposal. The second lesson, a Muslim sister should always seek advice from the pious and the wise in regards to proposals she receives. The third lesson, a Muslim sister should always seek nasihah from the pious and wise before accepting proposals. Okay, number 3. The Rasul ﷺ knew the character of his companions. The Prophet knew the character of his companions because he studied fiqh al-waqi'. The Rasul ﷺ, he knew the character of his companions. So he knew Muawiyah was stingy, mean, tight-fisted. He doesn't spend on his women. And he knew Abu Jahm was a wife beater. Why? Because he knew the character of his companions. He studied fiqh al-waqi'. Fiqh al-waqi' means the current events on the ground. That is the meaning of fiqh al-waqi'. Current events on the ground. And that is called wise leadership. Number 4, a wise leader knows about his flock. A wise leader knows about his flock. Question, the 5th lesson is, the Rasul did not uphold tribalism. The Rasul did not uphold asabiyya, tribalism. If the Rasul had upheld tribalism, he would say to Fatima bin Qais, you are a noble woman of Quraysh, you are only allowed to marry a Qurayshi. Muawiyah was Qurayshi. But the Prophet said, marry Osama, the son of a freed slave. The Prophet did not uphold tribalism, asabiyya. Marry Osama. She was shocked. The son of a freed slave. And the marriage was successful. The Prophet was a good matchmaker. That's the 6th lesson. The Prophet was a good matchmaker. You need wisdom to be a good matchmaker. Sometimes when you match people, that marriage was made in hell. Some of you are terrible matchmakers. A terrible matchmaker. The marriage was made in hell because you are not a good matchmaker. The Prophet was a good matchmaker. You need wisdom to be a good matchmaker. Allah said, يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَمَنْ يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤتي الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا. Allah gives hikmah to whom He please, and whomsoever Allah gives hikmah to, indeed He was given goodness in abundance. I'm stopping here to take 5 questions. We'll continue the dars, how to be sincere to the Ummah. I'll stop here for today to take 5 questions. At Baqarah 269, يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء. Baqarah 269. I think that's the ayah. Baqarah 269. يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤتي الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا. Allah gives wisdom to whom He please, and whomsoever Allah gives wisdom to, He was given goodness in abundance. Yes, Baqarah 269. Okay, shukran. I thought as much. I'm taking 5 questions in regards to what you have heard. Assalamu alaikum. Shaykh, you said Allah said to men, marry women who you fancy. Is it the same for the women? It's the same for the women, yes. You are not allowed to marry without chemistry. Now, I'm sorry, admins, there is another lesson we got from the hadith which I forgot to tell you. It's in the notes. I'm sorry, I missed it. It's in the notes, and it's important you put it in the notes. The 7th lesson we learned from the hadith is that when it comes down to marriage, there is no backbiting. If a sister got a proposal and the man is a wife beater, a pedophile, a drug addict, you have to tell the sister. There is no backbiting where marriage is concerned. Because the Prophet said Muawiyah is stingy and Abu Jahm is a wife beater. I forgot, it's in the notes, I forgot to mention it. Please add it to your notes. Because the Prophet exposed the 2 Sahabas who proposed to Fatima bin Qais. Sisters are not allowed to marry without chemistry because they will suffer frigidity. Frigid means your body becomes numb and you can't consummate. Frigid means your body becomes numb and you can't consummate because there's no chemistry. So brothers need chemistry and sisters need chemistry. Brothers need the chemistry more. Did you know that Ibn Abbas used to dress up for his wives or his wife? And when they asked Ibn Abbas, why do you dress up? He said, why do you dress up for your wife? He said, because Allah said in the Quran, women have the same rights over you as you have over them. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ ذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. What did Allah say? وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Women have rights over you as you have over them. Bil-ma'ruf, to that which is reasonable. Because of this ayah, Baqarah 228, it's a long ayah, I only want a piece. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلَ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Baqarah 228. Ibn Abbas used to dress up for his wives. And when they ask him, why do you dress up in nice clothing for your wives? He said, because Allah said in Baqarah 228, women have the same rights over you as you have over them. And the women have rights over their husbands as regards living expenses, etc., etc., similar to those of their husbands. Now, you call your wife to bed. Did you know your wife can call you to bed every 4 days? Because that's what Omar said. A woman can call her wife, what am I saying? A woman can call her husband to bed every 4 days. It is her right over you that you go to bed with her once every 4 days. When I was on tour of South Africa, the women put aside a day and they call it the ladies' conference. No men were allowed. They call it a day with Shaikh Faisal. I told the women in South Africa, Johannesburg, you can call your husband to bed once every 4 days. It is your right. The women went home and said, Shaikh Faisal said you have to go to bed with me once every 4 days. The men rang my phone and said, Shaikh Faisal, that is fitna. We go to Tablighi Jama'ah. And our Tablighi Jama'ah is 40 days, sometimes 4 months. When you tell the women at the conference that we have to go to bed with them once every 4 days, what's going to happen to the Tablighi Jama'ah? It was fitna. But I have to tell them what I learned in university, and what I learned is from Muhammad bin Saud, a woman can call her husband to bed once every 4 days. The brothers complained I pulled the rug from underneath the Tablighi Jama'ah. The women come home and said, Shaikh Faisal said you have to go to bed with me once every 4 days. It's like I dropped a bomb in the community in South Africa by telling the women their rights. A ladies' conference. They said no men are allowed because we have questions to ask. In Cape Town, the same thing. They had a ladies' conference. Nigeria, the same thing. A ladies' conference. Where they want to hear their rights, and no men are allowed at the conference. Most of these African countries, the women demand a ladies' conference where ladies alone attend, and they ask questions that are called burning questions. I'm taking 5 questions. Where are the others? Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. A brother proposed to a sister who is already engaged, and she told him, brother, I am engaged. He said he does not accept the engagement because it has not reached the level of her parents, so she is still not engaged and he has the right to propose to her. Is this correct? Yes, it is correct because your parents did not give consent. It hasn't reached the level of your parents. When you are officially engaged is when your parents accept. So technically the brother is correct. And this is only when your parents are on the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. If your parents are Shiites or Qadianis or Goofy Sufis, you are engaged even without your parents' consent because your parents are deviants. You are not allowed to go around your parents and marry behind your back unless your parents are Qadianis, Shiites, Sufis, Barelwis. If your parents belong to Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, you can't marry without their consent. Your marriage becomes batil, nullified, nullified. You are not engaged until your parents give consent. And we consider the consent of your parents if your parents belong to Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. If your parents are Goofy Sufis or Shady Shiites, Barelwis, Madkhalis, you can go around them and marry behind their back because your parents means they are hypocrites. If your parents have the right Aqidah and you marry behind their back, your marriage is batil, nullified, and you are committing fornication. According to some scholars, if you are a widow or a divorcee, you can marry yourself. According to some scholars, if you are a widow or a divorcee, you don't need your parents' consent. Only virgins need their parents' consent. If a woman acts upon the fatwa of these scholars, like Abu Hanifa, he's of this opinion, and she is a widow and she married without her parents' consent, you cannot accuse her of doing zina because she acted upon her madhab. No one is allowed to accuse her of committing zina because she acted upon her madhab, and her madhab says what? Only virgins need the consent of their parents. So the issue of wali is not straightforward as you think. The issue of wali is not as straightforward as you think, because there are opinions about it. Some opinions say the widow and the divorced woman doesn't need her parents' consent. Only virgins. If a woman acts upon this opinion, you cannot accuse her of committing zina because she acted within the confines of her madhab. She acted upon her madhab. A Pakistani women act upon this opinion every day and nobody said they are committing zina. Sheikh, if I see an item I own at a relative's house, can I take it without telling them to avoid conflict? It was my property to begin with. You can take it because it's your property. What is yours is yours. Why is it at somebody's house anyway? Was it stolen and taken there? Did the person borrow your property and didn't bring it back? It didn't walk to the house. It doesn't have 2 feet to walk to the house. Your property didn't walk there. So somebody borrowed your property and didn't give it back to you, or somebody stole your property. That's the only scenario I can think of. Or you yourself took it there and you forgot. You took it there and you forgot to take it back to your house. That's the third case scenario. So you can take your property because it is your property, providing that it is your property and you are not assuming it's your property. I'm taking 5 questions. Where are the other 2 questions? Sheikh, is it more correct for the Imam to recite Rabbana lakal hamd in the Salah, or is it more correct for him to only let those following him recite it? Whenever the Imam gets up, he says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, and those behind him say, Rabbana walakal hamd. That is one opinion. The Imam says, Sami Allahu liman hamida. And those who pray behind him say, Rabbana walakal hamd, coming out of ruku. The second opinion, the Imams say both. The Malikis say, the Imam says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, and those behind him say, Rabbana walakal hamd. That is Imam Malik's opinion. The Hanbali view, the Imam says both. The correct opinion is that the Imam says both, but he whispers Rabbana walakal hamd to himself only for him to hear it. The Imam says Sami Allahu liman hamida with a loud voice for the people behind him to hear it. And the Imam says Rabbana walakal hamd, he whispers that bit to himself for him to hear it by himself. That is the correct view. I'm taking one last question. No, it is the Hanbali opinion. The Imam says both. The Maliki said the Imam says one. Sami Allahu liman hamida. And those behind him say Rabbana walakal hamd. That's Maliki fiqh. What are some of the ways to counter Al-Maghrib and Al-Kawthar Institute, which tries to portray itself as authentic Islamically? The instructors are also given unlimited travel restrictions around the world to hold seminars, which raises suspicion. Anwar Awlaki refuted the Kawthar Institute. Anwar Awlaki, before he died, he refuted that institute, the Kawthar Institute, and pronounced the person who owns it as an agent. As for the Maghrib Institute, you have people like Yasser Qadhi who is involved. That sheikh says that Tony Blair is my mentor. How can you be a sheikh and you said Tony Blair is my mentor? Yasser Qadhi, they're involved. Then you have Al Maghrib Institute people like Hamza Yusuf, who said that the firefighters who died on September 11, they died as shaheed. I'm sure these institutes, they don't call for Sharia, Khilafah and Jihad. That's why they can travel around the world. They don't call for Khilafah, Sharia, Jihad. They don't preach Kufr bit Taghut. They don't preach democracy is the greatest shirk. And I'm sure these institutes are heavily funded as well. They are funded. And they don't call for Khilafah, Sharia and Jihad. Maybe they might call the Mujahideen terrorists as well. Maybe. I'm not sure. Whenever you see falsehood, the falsehood is darkness, and you need light to eradicate the darkness, and the light is authentic Tawheed. To eradicate the darkness, you need authentic Tawheed. You need to disseminate authentic Islamic knowledge to get rid of the darkness of Kufr and Jahiliyyah. That was the last question. We'll continue the dars tomorrow, inshallah. How to be sincere to your Muslim brothers and sisters. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على إمام الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أرنا الحق حقا ورزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا ورزقنا اجتنابه. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. Today we'll continue the topic, how to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we are doing the sincerity series. We covered how to be sincere to Allah, how to be sincere to the Holy Quran, how to be sincere to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and today we'll be covering how to be sincere of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After that, for us to cover how to be sincere to the Muslim leaders, because the Prophet in the Hadith he did mention sincerity to the Muslim leaders. In order to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 21 conditions have to be found. Yesterday we said, hold a meeting with the traders at a high price to manipulate the market. You hold a meeting, phone accessories, and you fix the price at a high price, rip them off with high prices. You send out invites to those who are on your pass list so that they will know that the dars has started. Because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, La tahasadu wa la tanajashu wa la tabaghadu. Do not envy one another and do not rip off one another with high prices. Do not hate one another, do not hold each other in contempt. Do not undercut them in marketplaces and do not rip off each other. Number 9, we are not allowed to take up weapons against them. That is the 9th condition to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad. You are not allowed to take up weapons against them, not even jokingly. Because the Prophet said, none of you should point a weapon at his Muslim brother, because you don't know when the shaitan will make you use it against your brother, and then you end up in the hellfire. So you're not allowed to point weapons at each other in earnest or in jest, just in case the shaitan makes you use the weapon and you kill your brother and you end up in the hellfire. The 10th condition is to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad. Do not undercut them in the marketplace. Don't try to take away all the customers. We could accidentally shoot our brothers. Yes, you could accidentally kill your brother. The Prophet said you'll end up in the hellfire if the shaitan makes you use the weapon against your brother. So don't take up weapon against him, neither in earnest nor in jest. And that is the 10th condition to be sincere to your Muslim brothers and sisters. Okay, this is the hadith I was referring to. None of you must point a weapon at his brother, for he does not know whether the devil may draw it out while it is in his hand, as a result of which he would fall into a pit of hellfire. This is the hadith I was referring to. The Holy Prophet said, against us is not one of us. Anyone who cheats us is not one of us. Collected by a Muslim. Man ghashana falaysa minna. He who cheats us is not one of us. Laysa minna man hamila alayna as-silah. He who takes up weapons against us is not one of us. The 11th condition is on top of their proposal. If a boy proposes to a girl, you are not allowed to propose on top of their proposal. Propose on top of their proposal. According to sincere Muslims, if a munafiq proposes to a girl, you're allowed to propose on top of his proposal. Because the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith of Uqba ibn Amir, bring me the hadith of Uqba ibn Amir. The hadith specifies that you cannot propose on top of a proposal if the person who makes the proposal was a believer. The Prophet didn't say a munafiq, he said a believer. If a believer proposed to a girl, you can propose to the girl from the pulpit. Bismillah. The hadith of Uqba ibn Amir states that it has to be a believer. Listen to the hadith of Uqba ibn Amir. Uqba ibn Amir said on the pulpit, when he was giving the khutbah, that Allah's Messenger, may Allah be pleased with him, said, may peace be upon him, a believer is the brother of a believer, so it is not lawful for a believer to outbid his brother, that is with prices, and he should not propose on an engagement when his brother has proposed until he gives it up. So if you look at the hadith says if a believer proposes to a girl, don't propose to the girl. So Ahmad ibn Hanbal said that if a hypocrite proposes to the girl, you can propose to the same girl. Because the hadith says if a believer proposes to the girl, don't propose to the girl. So if a goofy Sufi proposes to the girl, a madkhali, a Saudi Salafi, a madkhali, a goofy Sufi, a Shiite, a Qadiani, you are allowed to propose to the girl because these people, they are zanadiqa. The madkhali is a zindiq because he believes you can spy for the Taghut, you can snitch on the, and they call him mujahideen, khawarij and terrorists. Forget about the Sharia. To dismantle the Sharia of Muhammad is a minor kufr. A'udhu billah. That's the aqidah of the zindiq. A goofy Sufi is a zindiq because he believes in wahdatul wujud. I said a goofy Sufi. The one who is the extreme Sufi, who believes in wahdatul wujud. A Qadiani is a zindiq. He says there is a prophet after Muhammad. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is a prophet after Muhammad. A Shiite is a zindiq. They make takfir on the Sahabas. They accuse Aisha of having an affair. They believe Allah is a liar and Allah makes mistakes. So these people I have just made mention of. The goofy Sufi, the Madkhali, the Sara Salafi, the shady Shia. The shady Shia, the goofy Sufi. The mad Madkhali. If one of them proposes to a girl, you are allowed to propose to the same girl because they are zanadiqa. So Ahmad ibn Hanbal is correct. The hadith is only for believers. If a hypocrite proposes to a girl, you are allowed to propose to the same girl. Ahmad ibn Hanbal is correct in this regard. Now, Fatima bin Qais, when her iddat was finished, and you are not allowed to propose to a girl when she's in iddat, that's a sin. You see a girl, she is pretty, you want to propose to her, she is divorced, wait until her iddat is finished. Her iddat is three menstruations. Don't propose to women when they are in their iddat. If she is a widow, you can drop a hint that you are interested. She is widow. Her husband can't come out of the grave to marry her again. Her husband is khalas, finished. He's dead. So if the woman is a widow, you can drop a hint you are interested. You cannot say, marry me, I'm interested. You can't propose to a widow like that. You can say to the widow, don't mourn too much because something is in the pipeline. That is a hint. But to come with a full-blown proposal to a widow, it is haram. The iddat for a widow is 4 months and 10 days. The iddat for a widow is 4 months and 10 days. The iddat for a girl who got married and she didn't consummate her marriage, her iddat is that there is no iddat. She can get married the next day if she wants. I repeat, a girl who got married and she did not consummate the marriage, her iddat is that there is no iddat. Because she didn't consummate the marriage. Iddat is for people who consummate their marriage. And the iddat is 3 menstruations. If it's a widow, it's 4 months and 10 days. If it is a divorce in which the woman is divorcing the man, it's called khula. The woman is divorcing the husband, and this is called khula. Her iddat is 1 menstruation. If it is a divorce in which the man pronounced the divorce, it is not called khula, it is called talaq. The iddat for a talaq is 3 menstruations. Let's get back to our topic, and that is iddat. Who told you fiqh was boring? You need to learn fiqh. Who told you fiqh is boring? Every day you divorce, you need to learn how to divorce. You like aqidah, I know that, but you have to learn fiqh as well. Can't you see Ibn Taymiyyah was an expert in fiqh. Ibn Taymiyyah was an expert in fiqh and aqidah. When I teach fiqh, you complain and say fiqh is boring. Ibn Taymiyyah was an expert in fiqh and aqidah and tafsir and hadith. You have to be comprehensive with your knowledge. You can't be lopsided. You can't be lopsided with your knowledge. Fatima bin Qais went to the Prophet and said, Muawiyah proposed to me and Abu Jahm proposed to me. What should I do? The Prophet said, as for Muawiyah, he is tight. He doesn't spend on his woman. As for Abu Jahm, he's a wife beater. So marry Osama. When the Rasul said marry Osama, she was shocked because she was from the noble tribe of Quraysh. A very beautiful woman of Quraysh. Osama was the son of a freed slave. She didn't argue with the Prophet. She married Osama. And the marriage was successful. The scholars of Islam, they pick out the following reasons, the following lessons from the hadith. The Rasul was approached by Sahabas for crucial advice. The Prophet was approached by Sahabas for advice on crucial matters in regards to deen and dunya. The second lesson we learn is that sisters should always seek advice before they accept a proposal, and they should seek advice from the pious and the wise. They should always go to the pious and the wise and ask advice before they rush to accept a proposal. Because marriage is not a game, it's an everlasting thing. You're going to live with a person for the rest of your life. Unless you're a taster who wants to taste and move on. My understanding of marriage is that you're going to live with a person for the rest of your life. Because we are not Shiites who believe in muta. You marry a girl for 1 hour. Shiites marry for 1 hour. There is a huge brothel in Pakistan called Healy. They call it the Diamonds Market in Lahore. And the Pakistani government can't close down the brothel. Because the women who work there, they are Shiites, and they said, we are doing halal, we get married for 1 hour. We marry our clients for 1 hour. The Pakistani government can't close it down. Because in their religion, they can get married for 1 hour. Hira Mandi, the Diamonds Market. The other lesson you learn is the Rasul knew the character of his companions. The Prophet knew the character of his companions because he said Muawiyah is tight, he doesn't spend on his women, and Abu Jahm is a wife beater. So marry Osama. I'm going to tell you a lesson you learned from the hadith which I didn't tell you yesterday. The lesson is, you can make it the fourth. The Sahabas were humans and they had weaknesses. To be a wife beater is a weakness, is a serious weakness. The Sahabas were human beings and they had weaknesses. They were not infallible. Because to be a wife beater is a weakness. The other lesson you learn is that a wise leader knows his flock. When a leader is wise, he knows his flock. The Prophet knew his flock. He knew the strength and the weaknesses of all his Sahabas. That's why he said, the trustee of my Ummah is Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, the Sahaba who chopped off the head of his father at the Battle of Badr. Then he said, every Prophet has a disciple. My disciple is Zubair ibn Awam. A wise leader knows his flock and knows their strength and weaknesses. The other lesson you learn, the Prophet did not uphold tribalism. Because Fatima bin Qais was from Quraysh, the most noble tribe. Quraysh is such a noble tribe, the Prophet said, Al-Khilafah min Quraysh. The caliphate has to be from Quraysh. The caliphate has to be from Quraysh. Till today, you have scholars who say The hadith stands. The caliph has to be, even till today, in our 21st century. The caliph cannot be from any tribe except from Quraysh. Fatima bin Qais was from Quraysh, yet the Prophet said, marry Usama, the son of a freed slave. This means the Prophet did not uphold tribalism. If you want to have an exciting marriage, don't marry somebody from the same race as you. Make your marriage interracial. If your marriage is interracial, then it will be exciting. That's my opinion. You don't have to accept it. You can throw it out the window. What I've just said is my opinion. You don't have to accept it. That when you marry, you should make it interracial. Then it will be exciting. It's just my opinion. You don't have to accept it. I'm only speaking from experience, personal experience. I'm only bringing my personal experience into the dars. That interracial marriages are more exciting. You don't have to accept it. And I don't think it's my personal opinion, because my sheikhs told me this in university. That when your marriage is interracial, you will impregnate your wife quicker. I forgot, yes, my sheikhs told me this in university when they were studying marriage. If the marriage is interracial, you will impregnate your wife quicker. If you marry your cousin, the child will be stupid. If you marry your cousin, the child will be stupid. If you marry far from your race, then the child will be clever. So it's not really my opinion. My sheikhs told me that in university. And I experimented after I graduated, and the sheikhs were 100% right. I experimented after I graduated, and the sheikhs were right. The other lesson we learn from the hadith is the Prophet was a good matchmaker. Because when he matched Osama with Fatima bin Qais, it was a successful marriage. The Prophet was a good matchmaker because he matched Osama with Fatima bin Qais. I think she was older than him as well. She was older than him. That doesn't mean she was a cougar, but she was older. Because he was a teenager. And the marriage was successful. The other lesson we learn from the hadith is backbiting is permissible in regards to marriage. Backbiting is permissible in regards to marriage. But you are not allowed to speak about the bride or the bridegroom unless you were approached for your opinion. The Prophet was approached for his opinion. That's why the Prophet said Muawiyah is stingy, he doesn't spend on his women, and Abu Jahm is a wife beater. So why the Prophet said Muawiyah is stingy, he doesn't spend on his woman, Abu Jahm is a wife beater? Because the Prophet was approached for his opinion. But if you hear that two people are getting married, you shouldn't become busybody, pick up your phone and start to assassinate the character of the bride or the bridegroom, because you were not approached. You have to wait for someone to approach you and say, what's your opinion? Do you think it's a good idea to marry this brother or this sister? Some people, when they know that two people are getting married, they try to break up the couple. Especially women who are ugly. Ugly women, whenever a woman is ugly, she gets jealous when she sees two people getting married, and she tries to break up the couple. Whenever a person is beautiful, sometimes their character is beautiful. Whenever a person is ugly, their character is very ugly. Their ugliness causes them to have low self-esteem. Their ugliness causes them to have low self-esteem. Ugly women are very, very bitchy. That's my experience with women. A woman who is ugly is very, very bitchy with low self-esteem. Very vicious and dangerous woman. You're not allowed to marry without chemistry as well. You're not allowed to marry without chemistry because of the ayah in Surah Nisa verse 3. فَانْكِحُوا مَا تَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. Marry women who you fancy. تَابَ لَكُم means women who you fancy. Marry without chemistry is makruh. Okay, I have explained the hadith of Fatima bin Qais. I will now move on with the dars. The 12th condition to be sincere to your brothers and sisters: we are not allowed to harm them with our hands and our tongues. You can't harm your brothers and sisters with your hand and your tongues because of the hadith al-Muslimu man salama al-Muslimun min lisanihi wa yadi. The real Muslim is the one in which the others are safe from his hands and his tongue. Some people, they come online, whether it is Paltalk or Facebook, and they backbite and slander people. They hide behind the computer screen with a dodgy nick to backbite and slander and accuse people of things that they did not do. They behave like an atheist, because only an atheist is reckless with their tongue, backbite and slander, as if to say they don't believe in Judgment Day. Some of you will be an arm's length from paradise, yet you end up in the hellfire, because the people you backbite and slandered, they come to claim their rights. So Allah will take away from you your salah, your zakah, your sawm, your hajj, and give it away. Hassan al-Basri heard that a man was backbiting him, and he sent the man fruits. So why did you send me fruits? He said, I heard you were backbiting me, so I send you fruits. You gave me your good deeds, so I give you fruits. A basket of fruits. You gave me your good deeds, so I give you a basket of fruits. Some of you, people backbite you so much, you don't have enough basket of fruits to give away to those who backbite you. Where on earth will you get the money from to buy a basket of fruits to give to all the people who backbiting you? You can't afford it. The backbiting that is taking place in the Ummah. Backbiting is in every culture, whether it is black, white, yellow, brown, Arab, non-Arab. It's just that some people backbite more than others. Where will you get a basket of fruits to give people who backbite you? And then you say to them, you gave me a good deed, so I give you a basket of fruits. That's what a great scholar in the past did when somebody backbitten him. You can't afford it. Backbiting is in every culture. Because people, they don't think about Judgment Day. They say Judgment Day can wait. It's like a man who rips you off money. Why he rips off your money? He said Judgment Day can wait. I want the money now. I have needs. I want the money now. Judgment Day can wait. I don't give a damn about Judgment Day. I want the money now. That's why he's a con artist. And people forget Judgment Day because Judgment Day is far away. Allah said, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةَ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. You prefer the life of this world even though the hereafter is better and everlasting. So because you prefer the life, you become a con artist instead of being an honest. You chose the path of being a con artist because you want instant gratification. People become con artists because they say Judgment Day can wait. It's unfortunate that some people use Islam to con others. Some people use Islam to con others. They hide behind Islam to con others. Con them of their life savings. I don't need to call names. Everybody in the room knows what I'm talking about. And this person is now in Hong Kong trying to con the Muslims there. This person is now in Hong Kong trying to con the Muslims. He only tours rich countries with rich Muslims so that he can con. His conning spree becomes so disgraceful, even the kuffar made a documentary about him on YouTube, on the internet. Documentary. This person goes all over the world conning people. I'm going to open an Islamic radio station. Everyone is required to donate, and then he disappears with the money. Bilal Phillips told me some 20 years ago this man is a thief and a con artist. I didn't tell the Muslims, I kept quiet. When you go to somebody's house and you have a conversation at the dinner table, it's supposed to remain there. You can't come out of the house and repeat what you heard at the dinner table. 20 years ago, Bilal Phillips told me this in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. When a person warns others about the bad character of others, they say, you are jealous, you are slandering the person because you are jealous. The only reason why you are slandering the person is because you are jealous. So it's better you keep quiet and let them suffer on their own, and then they'll discover on their own. That is the reality of people. You know how many times in the UK I tell a sister, don't bother because that brother is confused.com. Something is wrong with him. And then she went and got married to the brother behind my back and put another wali. I'm supposed to be her wali to find her husband. I told her don't marry that brother because something is wrong with the brother. His character is not good. So what did she do? She went and got married to the brother and appointed another wali. And then some 6 months later she has to run away from the house to some women refuge. The brother nearly killed her. Wallahi, that happened with me in the UK. The brother nearly killed the sister. She had to run away from home to live in some women refuge. Don't you know Dar Harb turned people into scums of the earth? People live in Europe and America. The women, many of them have become prostitutes. The men become homosexuals. Some of them sell drugs on the streets. Some of them march on the Mardi Gras. Dar Harb turned people into low-life scums of the earth. So you can expect the divorce of Muslims to be high just like the kuffar. How can you call yourself a Muslim woman, then you slept with Goran Eriksson, the football manager for England, and then sell your story to News of the World, the defunct newspaper which was banned by the British government, for $500,000 US. You commit zina and sell the story for $500,000 US and say you're a Muslim woman? That's what Dar Harb does with people. Dar Harb turns people into low-life scums of the earth. If you're not careful, you will slip. That's why you need to come to study circles on a regular basis to be reminded of Quran and Sunnah. فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind the believers. A reminder is beneficial for the believers. I think that is Surah Al-Dhariyat. فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind the believers. Because the reminder has proven to be useful for the believers. وَذَكِّرْ Surah 51 verse 55. وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Surah 51 verse 55. Surah Al-Dhariyat. And remind by preaching of Muhammad, for verily to remind the prophets, the believers. The purpose of the halqa is to remind the believers, including myself. Remind the believers because the reminder is beneficial for the believers. Surah 51 verse 55. وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The purpose of this halqa on a daily basis is to remind you of Quran and Sunnah. If you don't come to the halqa, you're going to become a low-life scum of the earth. You are living in Dar Harb. In Dar Harb, only the strong survive, the weak fall by the wayside. And the weak, they call themselves non-practicing Muslim. That doesn't exist. A non-practicing Muslim. That's what they call themselves. They come up with a classification that doesn't exist. There are 3 types of people in the world. You're either a Muslim, a kafir, or a munafiq. You are coming with a 4th category that doesn't exist. Non-practicing Muslim. That doesn't exist. That category doesn't exist. That is bid'ah in regards to aqidah. Do you remember Wasil ibn Atta? Wasil ibn Atta was a student of Hassan al-Basri. And when the man asked Hassan al-Basri about people who drink alcohol and commit zina, Wasil ibn Atta said nobody was talking to him. It's bad manners to answer a question if nobody was talking to you. As far as I'm concerned, the man who drinks alcohol and commits zina, he's neither a Muslim, neither is he a kafir, he's on the fence. Huwa fi manzila bayna manzilatayn. On the fence. You're neither here nor there. That is bid'ah. He came up with a 4th category, so he was kicked out of the study circle. And from that, he started his movement called the Mu'tazilite movement. He started his Mu'tazilite movement, Wasil ibn Atta. Why he was a mubtadi, a curse innovator? Because he came up with a fourth category. There is no fourth category. You're either a Muslim, a kafir, or a hypocrite. What do you mean he is in between? He's neither here nor there. He's on the fence. He's neither a Muslim or a kafir. He's on the fence. That's a fourth category. That doesn't exist in our religion. Allah said in Surah Baqarah, there are only three types of people in the world: a Muslim, a kafir, or a hypocrite. It's impossible to find a fourth category. So you say, okay, Shaikh Faisal, what about the Fasiq? The Fasiq is a Muslim. Who do you think a Fasiq is? A Fasiq is a man who drinks and has girlfriends, or he gambles. He's a Muslim. You can't make takfir on the Fasiq. The word Fasiq means a sinful Muslim. And you say, oh, okay, Shaikh Faisal, what about the Murtad? A Murtad is a kafir. What do you think a Murtad is? Murtad means an apostate. A Murtad is an apostate. So don't try to find a fourth category. There's no fourth category. And so, okay, Shaikh Faisal, what about the Zindiq? A Zindiq is a kafir. A Zindiq is a man who makes up his own religion. Don't you know what the word Zindiq means? The Arabic word Zindiq, what it means? It means a heretic, a man who makes up his own religion, like Elijah Muhammad of Chicago. That's a Zindiq. You say, okay, Shaikh Faisal, what about the deviant? The deviant is a Muslim, like the Ash'ari. A deviant is a Muslim. He has deviated from the Sirat al-Mustaqim. A deviant is a Muslim. No scholar said we cannot pray behind Ash'ari. We asked our sheikhs this. Can we pray behind Ash'ari? They said yes. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, who liberated Palestine from the Kuffar, he was Ash'ari. Don't you know that? A deviant is still a Muslim. So don't try to find a fourth category. You can't find a fourth category. Allah said in the Quran, a man is either a Muslim, a kafir, or a hypocrite. So you might dig up and try to find a label: the Zindiq, the deviant, the Fasiq, the Murtad. You might try and try. You can't find a fourth category. Whatever label you come up with, it falls into one of these three. You're either a Muslim, a kafir, or a munafiq. The 13th condition to be sincere to the Ummah, you have to give them their 6 rights. You have to give the Ummah their 6 rights. The Rasul said, Haqqul Muslim al Muslim sit. The rights of a Muslim over his brother are 6 rights, or his sister. When he calls you, you go. So if he's getting married and he calls you, you have to go. The Prophet said the worst food is the food of the walima, the wedding feast, in which the rich people were invited and the poor were left out. And those who got an invite and didn't go has disobeyed Allah and His Rasul. So the rights of a Muslim are as follows. When he gives you the salam, you are supposed to answer his salam. And the one who is younger should give salam to the older. And the one who is riding should give salam to the one who is not riding. And the small crowd should give salam to the larger crowd. The one who is walking should give salam to the one who is standing. And when you say Assalamu alaikum, that is sunnah, but to reply is fard because of Nisa 86. وَإِذَا خُيِّيتُمْ بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَسِيبًا. When you are greeted with a greeting, return a greeting which is better or something similar, something equal. Certainly Allah is ever careful account of all things that you do. Nisa 86. So to say Assalamu alaikum is sunnah, but to reply is fard. So the rights of a Muslim, whenever he invites you, you go to his invitation. The first one, whenever he greets you, you reply. When he invites you, you go to his invitation. So if he is breaking fast in Ramadan and he cooks a meal for you to come to break your fast, you have to go. When he seeks your advice, you advise him properly. When he sneezes and he says Alhamdulillah, you say Yarhamakallah. But then he has to say Yahdikumullah wa yuslih balakum. And when he is sick, you visit him. And when he dies, you go to his janazah. These are the 6 rights. So in order for you to be sincere to your brothers and sisters, you need to give them their 6 rights. The 14th condition, you are not allowed to harm, you're not allowed to oppress them. Because Allah said, Ya ibadi inni haramtu dhulma ala nafsi wa ja'altuhu baynakum muharrama fala tadhalamu. O my servants, I have made oppression haram on me, Allah, and I have made oppression haram amongst you, so don't oppress each other. There are things that are haram for Allah to do. It is haram for Allah to tell a lie, it is haram for Allah to break a promise, and it is haram for Allah to oppress. Now you study halal and haram every day, but you did not know there are things that are haram for Allah to do. It is haram for Allah to break a promise, to tell a lie, or to oppress. O my servants, I have made oppression haram upon myself and also between you, so do not oppress each other. Maybe you should correct the English in the myself. I think myself should be big M, you know. I think myself should have been big M. Capital M for myself. I think so. The Holy Prophet said, Allah will always answer the dua of 3 people. The dua of the traveler, the father for his son, and the oppressed. Somebody is asking, do we reply to salam online in chat rooms? When a person enters a chat room and says salam, if the Amir of the room replies to his salam, it covers the rest of the people. Not everybody should reply. If the Amir of the room replies, that is sufficient. Allah will always answer the dua of 3 people, the father for his son, the traveler, and the man who is oppressed. When the Rasul was sending Mu'adh bin Jabal to Yemen, what did he say? وَاتَّقُوا الدَّعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ, fear the dua of the man who is oppressed. فَلَيْسَ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ hijab, because there is no barrier between himself and his Lord. Who did the Prophet say that to? Mu'adh ibn Jabal, when he was sending him to Yemen. Fear the dua of the oppressed, for there is no barrier between it and Allah. There is no barrier between the dua of the oppressed and his Lord. What is the $1 million question? I have a question to ask you, and this is the $1 million question. Will Allah answer the dua of the kafir who is oppressed? Will Allah answer the dua of a kafir? That is the $1 million question. For those of you who are firmly grounded in Tawheed, you can answer the question. The answer is yes, Allah will answer the dua of a kafir who is oppressed. Allah told us in the Quran that He answered the dua of kuffar in the past. Surah 29 verse 65. Allah spoke about some kuffar who were in the boat, and the boat was about to capsize because of a storm. They raised their hands and made a dua to Allah and promised Allah, if you save us, we will worship you alone. So Allah Ta'ala said, فَإِذَا رَكِبُوا فِي الْفُلْكِ دَعَوُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ فَلَمَّا نَجَّاهُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ إِذَا هُمْ يُشْرِكُونَ. And when they embark on a ship, they invoke Allah, making their faith pure for Him only. But when He brings them safely to land, behold, they give a share of their worship to others. So they try to pull a stunt on Allah. Allah answered their dua and saved them from drowning. But Allah kept His side of the bargain and saved them from drowning. But they did not keep their side of the bargain. Allah said when they touched down on dry land, They worship others beside Allah. They try to pull a stunt on Allah. This is the hujjah used by the scholars to say Allah will answer the dua of a kafir if when he was making his dua he did not ascribe partners unto Allah. Like Allah said, mukhlisina lahuddin. They purified their dua when they were praying to me. They didn't call upon Lat, Uzza, Hubal, Manat. They purified their dua. Mukhlisina lahuddin. And they promised me, if you save me from drowning, when we go back to dry land, we are going to worship you alone. Allah said, I kept my side of the bargain. And I saved them from drowning. But when they went back to dry land, they worship others beside me, Allah. They tried to pull a stunt on Allah. When I was on tour of South Africa and I told the Muslims this story in the masjid in Cape Town, they said, Shaikh Faisal, if Allah knew they were going to pull a stunt, why didn't He leave them to drown? That's the question they asked me in the masjid. Why didn't He leave them to drown? If Allah knew they were going to pull a stunt. The answer is, Allah will use it as an argument against them on the day of judgment. Allah will remind them. The Kiram and Katibin recorded what took place and Allah will show it back to them. Yes, the Kiram and Katibin recorded the incident, but the Kiram and Katibin did not use the camera Sony or Toshiba or Sharp to record the incident. Sony, Toshiba, Sharp, they recorded the incident. And the Kiram and Katibin, it will be played back to them on Judgment Day. So Allah Ta'ala says in Surah 99, Surah 99, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. Surah 99, verse 7 to 8. Anyone who does an atom's weight of evil shall see it then. Anyone who does an atom's weight of good, khayran, will see it then. And anyone who does an atom's weight of sharran, evil, shall see it then. So those Muslims in South Africa who asked me, why didn't Allah leave them to drown? If Allah knew they were going to pull a stunt when they go back to dry land, they worship others. The answer is clear. Allah will use it as an argument against them on the day of judgment. Allah will remind them. Do you remember when you were in the boat and the boat was about to capsize and you prayed to me and promised me that you will worship me alone if I save you? Allah will say to them, I kept my side of the bargain. I saved you from drowning. But when you touched down on dry land, you broke your promise to me. You worship idols. And Allah will show them their deeds. Like Allah said, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. That is the answer. Allah will use it as an argument against them on the day of judgment. The kuffar who will be flung into the hellfire on judgment day, they will beg Allah to let them go back to the dunya so that they can make amend and change their ways. I will give up alcohol and I will give up crack cocaine and I will give up homosexuality and lesbianism. I will give up, I will give up, I will give up. I will give up the worst crime, which is to worship Jesus. Shirk. The worst crime, shirk. I'll give it up. I'll give up Buddha. I'll stop worshipping Buddha. Allah said, if I send them back to the dunya, they will never make amend and change their ways. They will go back and do the same evil things. Why, brothers and sisters? Why, if Allah send them back to the dunya, they will never make amend and change their ways? They'll go back to do the same haram, sleeping with their neighbor's wife, taking crack cocaine, gambling in casino. Why? Should I tell you the secret why? Because sins are addictive. That's why. People don't give up addiction so easily. Sins are addictive. So when you people go into alcohol anonymous, sex addiction anonymous, heroin anonymous to go for counseling, the shrinks are wasting their time. These shrinks, shrink being a psychologist or a psychiatrist, And nowadays they call even people who do counseling a shrink. Shrinks are wasting their time. These addictions, people don't give it up. The 15th condition to be sincere to your brothers and sisters: don't make indecent proposals to their wives and daughters. Don't try to seduce the wives and daughters of your Muslim brothers behind their back. There are two types of proposals. One is called praiseworthy, one is called blameworthy. One is called praiseworthy, one is called blameworthy. If you propose marriage, it is praiseworthy. If you propose zina, it is blameworthy. The only proposal you can propose to a girl is marriage, not zina. You wouldn't like somebody to corrupt your daughter, so why you want to corrupt the daughter of somebody else? The only proposal you can propose is nikah, marriage. You should love for your brother what you love for yourself. When I was living in the UK, a sister rang me up and she was crying on the phone. She said somebody said to her, let us do the Kama Sutra. What did he say to her? Let us do the Kama Sutra. She thought he meant marriage, but he meant zina. And she was taken aback. She said, but Shaikh Faisal, he had a beard. You have dodgy people with beard. Beard is not evidence. Have you ever seen the Qadianis? They have a caliphs. The caliphs who took over from the false prophet. They have wonderful beards and turbans. The Qadianis. So if you're going to pay attention to beard and use it as an evidence that the person is on the haqq, that means you are very naive. The goofy Sufis who believe in Wahdatul Wujud, they have a beard. I was on the internet, on YouTube, and they showed a Pakistani who was handcuffed by police. He impregnated 300 women. He's a Breli Imam. A Breli Imam impregnated 300 women. He had a beard. And they called him Peer. Peer, P-E-R, the Peer. You click on that link, you'll see the police taking him away in handcuffs for impregnating 300 women. He had a beard. Because if he didn't have a beard, the women wouldn't have trusted him to begin with. You are not allowed to make indecent proposals to your Muslim brothers, the wives of your Muslim brothers, or their sisters, their daughters. A man said, O Messenger of Allah, give me permission to commit zina. The Sahabas were disgusted. Some of them wanted to kill him. The Prophet said, would you like somebody to commit zina with your mother? He said, no, not under my dead body. Your daughter, your sister? He said, no, no, no. The Prophet said, likewise, the men in our community, they don't like you to commit zina with their mothers and their daughters and their sisters. When the Prophet explained to him, nobody hated zina more than that man. At first, he was thinking about his pleasure, and he didn't give a damn about the disgrace he would bring to the Muslim community. Whenever zina is rife in a community, murder becomes rife in the community. Because if you seduce somebody's wife, he's going to kill you. So when you read the Quran, you'll see where Allah mentions zina and murder side by side in the same ayah. Why Allah mentioned murder and zina in the same ayah? Because if you are going to seduce the wives of people and their daughters, they're going to kill you. Because you drag the honor of the family in the gutters. وَلَا يَقْتُلُونَ النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ وَلَا يَزْنُونَ وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ يَلْقَ أَثَامًا وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَدْعُونَ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَٰهًا آخَرَ. Surah 25 verse 68. Allah mentions zina and murder side by side in Surah 25 verse 68, because when zina becomes rife in the society, murder becomes rife. Because if you're going to seduce a man's daughter, he's going to kill you. Who wants you to impregnate their 16-year-old daughter? Which Muslim wants that? You impregnated their 16-year-old daughter outside of wedlock? That's very shameful. So Allah mentions zina and murder side by side in the same ayah. Because when zina becomes rife in the society, murder becomes rife. A country like Jordan, Palestine, a man will be terrified to seduce a Muslim girl in Jordan or Palestine because he can be killed. I've studied with Palestinians and Jordanians. Virginity is important in their society. It's not like in the West where girls' virginity is not important for them. In Arab countries, in Saudi Arabia, virginity is very important. In most Arab countries, virginity is very important. So can you imagine you seduce a man's daughter and deflower her? Deflower means to take her virginity. Deflower. You will be killed. So Allah mentions zina and murder side by side in the same ayah, Surah 25, verse 68. Because when zina becomes rife in a society, murder becomes rife. It's only in the West, in Europe and America, you can impregnate as many 16-year-olds as you like and nothing comes out of it. Because in the West, people don't have any honor. In the West, you can impregnate as many women as you want. I was locked up in prison with a man. He said he had 27 kids from about 10 different women. He was black and they were all white women. And these women used to come to prison to visit him. That was in the UK. In the West, morality is not important. What they care about is money. Morality is not important. If you pay attention to morality, they laugh at you. In the West, morality is frowned upon. Izzah, honor, morality is frowned upon in the West. Why do you think the women, when I was living in the UK, I saw many women, they slept with men and sell the story to the Sun newspaper for $500,000 US. These women will say to you, who cares about honor? My honor is my bank account. That's my honor, my money. Who cares? I don't want to call the names of these women, but many women slept with politicians. Politicians, football stars, movie stars, singers, and sell the story to the Sun newspaper for £500,000 or $1,000,000 US. They'll tell you, who cares about honor? My honor is my money. Morality is not important in the West. What is important in the West is money. The people have lost their fortune. Barack Obama can say, I support gay marriages, and he's going to win the election. In the newspaper, the magazine called Newsweek magazine, he was front page. The first gay president. Newsweek magazine. Didn't you see the Newsweek magazine? Front page, the first gay president. They start to promote him already. Because the gays control the media. Morality is not important in the West. And because the people in the West have no morals, Allah said in the Quran, they are beneath the level of the cattle. Surah 25, verse 44. Inhum ila kal an'am, bal hum addal sabila. Allah said they are like the cattle. Then Allah said, but they are beneath the level of the cattle. Look at the ayah. It doesn't get clearer than that. It doesn't get clearer than that. Allah said they are beneath the level of the cattle. These kuffar you are living with in the West, in Europe and America, Allah said they are beneath the level of the cattle. Because they have no morals. They don't know right from wrong. And every kafir is a hypocrite, and every hypocrite is a kafir. Every kafir is a hypocrite, and every hypocrite is a kafir. Because in their religious books, they show the Virgin Mary in hijab, yet they want to ban the hijab. In their religious books, they show pictures of the Virgin Mary in hijab, yet they want to ban the hijab. Why? Because every kafir is a hypocrite, and every hypocrite is a kafir. In their religious books, they said Abraham had two wives, Sarah and Hagar, yet they banned polygamy in their society. But you said in your books, in your religious books, Abraham had two wives, Sarah and Hagar, yet you banned polygamy. Why? Because every hypocrite is a kafir, and every kafir is a hypocrite. In your religious books, when you show a picture of Jesus, Jesus always have a beard in your religious books. Every picture of Jesus has a beard, yet in your society the beard is frowned upon. So why is the beard frowned upon? But in your books, when I was a Christian going to church and they gave us books to study in the church, the Virgin Mary always have a hijab and Jesus have a beard. So why is the beard frowned upon in your society? Why? Because every kafir is a hypocrite and every hypocrite is a kafir. When I was going to church, you taught me about Sodom and Gomorrah, how God killed the people of Sodom and Gomorrah because they were gay, yet you allow gay marriages in your society. Why? Because every kafir is a hypocrite and every hypocrite is a kafir. This is something you need to know about hypocrisy. You are not allowed to make indecent proposals to the wives and daughters of your Muslim brothers and sisters. Imam Shafi said, zina is a debt which you owe. Imam Shafi said, avoid zina and then your women folks will avoid zina. If you commit zina, your women folks will also commit zina. Zina is a debt which you owe. If you seduce somebody's wife, one day somebody shall seduce your wife. If you seduce somebody's daughter, one day somebody will seduce your daughter, because zina is a debt which you owe. Diwan Shafi. This is something I learned from the lips of my sheikhs in Saudi Arabia, Muhammad ibn Saud University. Diwan Shafi. Zina is a debt which you owe. Remain pure and your women folks will remain pure. Whenever a man is having an affair, he's always looking over his shoulder thinking his wife is having an affair. Anytime a man is having an affair, he always looks over his shoulder thinking his wife is having an affair. Whenever a man has a small genitalia, he's very, very angry. He has a temper problem. And he accuses his wife of having an affair even when she's not having an affair. And they kill women a lot. When I was in prison in the UK, the prison is called Belmarsh, the Guantanamo Bay of the UK. You had many, many men in prison for killing women. I was shocked the amount of men in prison for killing women. Every week in the UK, 3 women are killed. Well, you brought me the link that says 2 women are killed. But I heard a documentary that says 3 women are killed. By their husbands or ex-husbands. By their boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. Whenever a man has a small genitalia, they are very vicious, they kill women a lot. They accuse the woman of having an affair even when she is not having an affair because he has low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem are very, very dangerous people. That is a personality disorder in itself, to have low self-esteem. Some people like to sleep with your neighbor's wife. The Prophet said, it's better for you to commit zina with 10 women than to commit zina with your neighbor's wife. This hadith is found in Bukhari. It is less serious to fornicate with 10 women than for you to fornicate with your neighbor's wife. This hadith can be found in Bukhari. Have you found the hadith? Okay, Al-Miqdad ibn Aswad reported that the Prophet said, he was asked his companions about fornication, and they said it is unlawful, and his messenger have made it unlawful. Allah and his messenger made it unlawful. He said it is less serious for a man to fornicate with 10 women than for him to fornicate with his neighbor's wife. Shukran for the hadith found in Bukhari. The 16th condition, don't let their secrets out because you have an argument with them. That's the 16th condition. Don't let their secrets out because you had a quarrel with them. Some of you, that's what you do. You let the secret out of your Muslim brothers and sisters because you have a quarrel with them. Number 17, don't take sides with the kuffar against your Muslim brothers and sisters. You need to practice al-wala wal-bara. Don't gang up with kuffar against your Muslim brothers and sisters. Because Allah said in Surah Tawbah, Surah 9, verse 71, the believers are helpers and protectors of each other. The believers are friends and protectors and helpers of each other. Awliya. Surah 9, verse 71. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْدٍ. The believers, men and women, are friends and protectors and helpers of each other. They enjoin the right and they forbid the wrong. Therefore, because of this ayah, it is haram to gang up with the kuffar against your Muslim brothers and sisters. You need to practice al-wala wal-bara. Al-wala wal-bara means to love and hate for the sake of Allah. Solidarity. When you gang up with the enemies of Islam against the Muslims, you become a kafir. The evidence is Ma'idah 51. To take sides with the enemies of Islam against the Muslims, it makes you become a kafir. If the Muslim is oppressing the kafir, the Muslim is oppressing the kafir, he sells the kafir a car with a bad engine. If you take sides with the kafir, you do not do wrong, because the Muslim is the oppressor. I repeat, if the Muslim is oppressing the kafir and you take sides with the kafir, you do not do wrong, because the Muslim is the oppressor. But if the Muslim is not the oppressor, you are not allowed to gang up with the kuffar against your Muslim brothers and sisters. The Pakistani regime, they gang up with the Crusaders to destroy Afghanistan. And the Crusaders shot and killed over 2,000 Pakistani soldiers. They didn't thank them. The Saudi regime gang up with the Americans to conquer Iraq. When Iraq was conquered, thousands of Muslim girls were brutally raped by the army of the Dajjal. So don't use the Pakistani regime, who are Brahmins, the Saudi regime, which is a marital regime. Don't use them as your mentor. They are astray. They are lost souls. The maritalis of Saudi Arabia, who took side with the Americans to conquer Iraq, the land of Abraham. The Brahmins of Pakistan, they are lost souls. Don't take sides. Don't use them as your role model, your mentor. Ma'idah 51 says you are kuffar if you take sides with the enemies of Islam against the Ummah. This is the 17th condition to be sincere to the Ummah of Muhammad. It is haram to take sides with the kuffar against your Muslim brothers and sisters. Because the Muslims, in their love, mercy, and affection for each other, is like one body. When one part of the body is affected, the whole body feels the pain. Surah Tawbah verse 71 said that the believers are helpers and protectors of each other. They are friends of each other. They don't gang up with the enemies of Islam against each other. The Muslims, in their love, mercy, and affection for each other, is like one body. So don't use the Brahmins of Pakistan as your mentor. They are grave worshippers. They are finished. It was easy for them to gang up with Bush against the Afghans and kill thousands of Afghans, because they are not inside the fold of Islam. A Brahmin is a 5-star kafir. Don't bother look at the House of Saud. The House of Saud, the Saudi regime, they are maritalis, taking sides with the Americans to conquer Iraq, providing them with petroleum for their tanks and planes and ships, giving them land space and air space to bomb Iraqis by the thousands and by the millions. Don't use the House of Saud as your role model, your mentor. They are maritalis. A markhali is a lost soul. We debated a markhali, and he said that when they allow riba banks, interest banks, ripping off the people, they saw the American bank, they saw the British bank, they saw the French bank. The markhali told us in the debate that they were on the duress to allow these riba banks ripping off the people. Can you believe it? He said it is ikra. Ikra means you're on the duress. This person came from the room called Authentic Salafiyah. He has to come back for the debate. The debate isn't finished. We have many more topics to debate. You can't run. You can run, but you can't hide. He said he doesn't want to debate Shaikh Faisal, he wants to debate my students. Who told you you can win against my students? This person's name is Hadi. I don't want to debate the Shaykh, I want to debate his students. Who told you you can defeat my students? So are you trying to say my students are jahil? They won't be able to bring their ayahs sharp enough. They won't be able to bring their ayahs sharp enough. So I want to debate them. Who told you you can defeat my students in a debate? You can run, but you can't hide. During the debate, we said that when you give your bay'ah to the UN, it is an act of apostasy, because the UN set itself up as the rival to Allah, to legislate for mankind. The UN is the ultimate power on earth to legislate for mankind. So when you join the UN, it's an apostasy, an act of apostasy. The Madkhali told me in the debate, the Prophet Muhammad did the same thing, because when he signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, it's like joining the UN. The Madkhali slandered the Prophet. They are so desperate, they are prepared to slander the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to hang on to their kufr, their zandaka. Zandaka means heresy. He said the Prophet did the same thing. Because when the Prophet signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, it's the same as joining the UN. He is prepared to slander the Rasul. When you have these debates, you have to record the debate. You know why? They're going to say, I didn't say that. You have to record the debate. Because the hypocrites are going to say, I didn't say that. You are making it up, I didn't say that. Never you have a debate unless it is recorded to play back. Because the hypocrites are going to say, I didn't say that. You are making it up. So the 17th condition to be sincere to the Ummah, you are not allowed to gang up with the kuffar against the Ummah of Muhammad. You need to practice solidarity. And Allah told you in Surah 8 verse 73, Allah told you in Surah 8 verse 73, all the kuffar are united. This ayah tells you every single kafir is united with another kafir, whether he is a Christian, a Jew, a Sikh, a Buddhist, an atheist, an agnostic, whatever he is, they are all united. And if you, the Muslims, don't put your differences aside and unite, what will happen? There will be fitna on the land. Wa fasad kabir. There will be fitna on the land and fasad kabir. Surah 8, verse 23. And those who disbelieve are allies to one another. And if you, the Muslims of the world, collectively do not do so, become allies as one united bloc with one Khalifa, chief Muslim ruler, for the whole Muslim world to make victorious Allah's religion of Islamic monotheism, there will be fitna, wars, battles, polytheism, and oppression on earth, and great mischief, corruption, and the appearance of polytheism. The ayah is clear. It doesn't get clearer than that. There are only two religions in the world, Islam and Kufr. Don't let the shaitan tell you there are hundreds of religions. There are only two religions in the world, Islam and Kufr. There are only two religions in the world, the right one and the wrong one. The right one and the wrong one, Islam and Kufr. So don't let the shaitan tell you there are hundreds of religions in the world. That's rubbish. There are only two religions in the world, Islam and Kufr. The right one and the wrong one. Surah 8 verse 73 is the Hujjah. At the battle of the ditch, all the kuffar united against the Muslims. The Jews of the Arabian Peninsula united with the Arabs, the Christian tribes, the pagan tribes against Islam. Because of that, it is called the Battle of the Ahzab, the Battle of the Allied Forces. This battle tells you there are only two religions in the world, Islam and Kufr, the right one and the wrong one. Likewise, Allah told you in Surah 8 verse 73, there are only two religions in the world, Islam and Kufr. And it is haram for you to gang up with the kuffar against your Muslim brothers and sisters. The 18th condition, don't spy on the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Don't spy on the Ummah of Muhammad, because spying is haram. If you spy for the MI5, the FBI, you become a kafir. There is ijma among the scholars, when you spy for the FBI, the MI5, the CIA against the Muslims, you become a kafir. Don't bring me the story of Hatib ibn al-Balta'a and said it is halal for me to spy for the FBI because a Sahaba wrote a letter to Quraysh to tell Quraysh Muhammad was coming to conquer Mecca. Don't bring me that story and use it as evidence to spy against the Muslims. Because Hatib ibn al-Balta'a wrote the letter because he was from a weak tribe and he wanted Quraysh to protect his family. When you spy for the kuffar, it's because you hate Islam, because you call the Mujahideen Khawarij and terrorists. And you preach to dismantle the Sharia is a minor kufr. Forget about the Sharia, think about yourself. The Mujahideen are Khawarij and terrorists. The greatest jihad is to fight the Mujahideen. That is your creed. So don't compare yourself to Hatib ibn al-Balta, this noble Sahaba who fought at the Battle of Badr. Don't compare yourself. Don't put a spin on the Seerah to support your Zandaqa. Surah 49 verse 12 tells you it is haram to spy on each other. And when you spy for the crusaders against the Ummah, you become a kafir. Number 19, it is haram to boycott your Muslim brothers and sisters for more than 3 days. Every Monday, number 19, it is haram to boycott your Muslim brothers and sisters for more than 3 days. Every Monday and Thursday, your good deeds are shown to Allah. Everyone is forgiven of their sins except 2 people who carry grudges until they make up. Allah will say, delay these 2 until they reconcile. Delay these 2 until they reconcile. Delay these 2 until they reconcile. It is haram to boycott your Muslim brothers for more than 3 days, and the better of the 2 is one who gave the salam first. And please bring the hadith again after point number 19. It is, yes, bring it after the point. Not before, after the point. The better of the 2 is the one who gave the salam first, because it means you have less pride in your heart. Pride is from the shaitan. If a person is a hypocrite, you can boycott him for more than 3 days. This the hadith. This hadith is for believers. A munafiq, a fake Muslim, you can boycott him for 10 years, 20 years. This hadith is only for sincere believers. If a person is a real Muslim, don't boycott them for more than 3 days. If a person is you can boycott them for more than 3 days. That's what I said. If a person is a hypocrite, you can boycott them for more than 3 days. That's what I said. Not 3 days, more than 3 days. You can boycott him for 10 years because he's a hypocrite. The hadith is only for real Muslims. Don't boycott them for more than 3 days. If a person is a hypocrite, you can boycott them for more than 3 days. Yes, that's what I said. The Holy Prophet said in a hadith, if you boycott your Muslim brother for 1 year, it's like you shed his blood. It's like you kill him, the way you hurt him. If you boycott your Muslim brother for 1 year, it's like shedding his blood. It's like you, because you hurt him. Number 20, you have to cheer for them when they are on the battlefield. If you boycott your Muslim brother for a year, it's like shedding his blood. Yes, that's the hadith found in Abu Dawud. To boycott your brother for 1 year is like you kill him, like shedding his blood, because you hurt his feelings. You have to cheer for them when they are on the battlefield. Don't be like the Madkhalis who call them Khawarij and terrorists. And don't take sides with the kuffar against them on the battlefield by spying on them, like the British of Pakistan are doing. Helping the kuffar to fire drones and kill Muslims. What else can you expect from a Bruli? A Bruli is a 5-star kafir. It is haram for you to take your knowledge from a sheikh who called the Mujahideen Khawarij and terrorists. That sheikh is a munafiq. You are not allowed to take your deen from anybody who called the Mujahideen Khawarij and terrorists. That's person a munafiq. And why would you take your deen from a person who called the Mujahideen terrorists and Khawarij? If you were not a munafiq yourself, why do you listen to a munafiq? You gravitate towards a munafiq if you are a munafiq. Likes attract likes. The last condition is to look after their widows and orphans when they die. The 21st condition, to be sincere to your brothers and sisters, look after their widows and orphans when they die on the battlefield. And Allah said the uphill road is to free a slave. Or itraman fi yawmin dhi masghaba, to feed poor people on the day of famine, yatim and dha makraba, or to look after the yatim, the orphan, who is kith and kin. So the 21st condition to be sincere to the Ummah, look after their widows and orphans after they die on the battlefield. Mike, can you hear me? That was the last point. I'll pause and take 5 questions in regards to the dars you have just heard. Shaykh Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam married his daughter Fatima, his blood cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib, and they had wonderful kids. So what the Shaykh at the university have said does not apply to everybody. Am I right? It doesn't apply to everybody. When Fatima married Ali, they were not first cousins. The sheikhs were talking about first cousins. The kids might be deformed. Second or third cousin, that's fine. Not everything which is halal is good to do. It's halal to marry your first cousin, but that doesn't mean it's recommended, because the Prophet didn't recommend it. Fatima and Ali were not first cousins, they were like second cousins. Next question, please. What if weird men salam you on the street? Do you reply, or can you walk off and say it quietly? Men giving salam to sisters on the street, the sister doesn't have to reply, she can say it quietly. Men use salam to familiarize themselves with sisters on the street. And sometimes these people who give salam, they are kuffar. Did you know that? Sometimes kuffar give salam. If kuffar give salam, you say wa alaykum. That's how you reply to a kafir. You reply by saying wa alaykum. If it's a Muslim, you say wa alaykum salam. For the kafir, you say wa alaykum. But men use salam to familiarize themselves with sisters on the street. Something I've seen. If a kafir says salam, you say wa alaykum and you walk, you can say it quietly. Because this is a strategy used by kuffar men to familiarize themselves with Muslim sisters. Next question, please. No more questions. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.